ニューヨークから取材に来てるトラスターの歌舞伎町いろんなとこいるってイエーイイエーイすごいよ最近女いないの絶対だこれ女にくださいおおおいアップこれ
Oh, is it recording?
It's recording.
Oh, perfect. Well, guess what somebody told me about Rocky today?
Yeah, what?
No, this, I guess a mutual friend. I guess not friend, a mutual followers on Instagram.
Is she following me? It's not mutual if she doesn't...
Oh, I mean, we're mutual.
Oh, yeah, okay.
I'm sorry.
That's fine. Don't worry about it. I don't need another one.
Anyways, she posted a picture of one of Araki's book today. Tokyo's Lucky Hold. And you know exactly how that book is.
Tasty.
Tasty, right?
Tasty.
500 pages of tasty.
Mm-hmm.
And I just made a comment, you know, just like, do you like the book? And he's like, yeah, I love it. I'm returning it tomorrow. Isn't that great? Isn't that what, you know, that's just, Araki's, it's just somebody who, you know, if you know of him, it just grab you in. But then once he grabs you, you still gonna have to, you still gonna have to do a lot of processing going through his picture, right?
It's almost it leaves you standing at like a crossroad.
Yeah,
like you have to make a choice. Like, do you go in deeper, or you leave? Right?
Yeah,
you quit, right?
You return it and get your $10 back. Yeah. But I mean, the guy just there's some sense, you know, a certain sense about Araki that it draws you in. Yeah. No matter what lane of photography that you're in, immediately, like, once you see these photos, you completely, like, curious, you know? Mm-hmm. Like, first time seeing him, you know, the guy looks like the devil, right? That's what I get. I don't know what the look he's going for. He got the ponytails, and then, you know, the glasses on. Yeah. He's an interesting character, and the picture he takes are very polarizing, you know? Yeah. But they always draw you in, and then, like, once they draw you in, like, it's like you said, where do I go? Yeah.
I was, you know, a couple of years ago, and of course, I think prior to meeting you, I was aware of who he was, but I wasn't given that choice. But I think until we met, and then you fully introduced me to his work, and I find this experience, like the story you told of that girl returning Tokyo Lucky Hole, I think that's somewhat relatable, even though relatable in the sense that I remember being at that crossroad, like looking at his work and then thinking, okay, do I love it or do I hate it? But as you know, I'm all in it.
Yeah, you're more in it than I am.
I turned completely. I've walked on that road, and I have not looked back ever since. So of course it's not relatable in the sense that I returned it. I don't think I was ever repulsed by his work. Yeah. I think my initial feelings were, I think they were a mix of, there was a thing, I think his work sort of, it awoke something inside of me, and I wasn't willing to admit it. I think that's my personal feeling towards, like...
and that is a great way to... Yeah. For us to introduce the second episode.
Of course, yeah. Now that it's... Yeah.
Now that you know there's something awoken in him. Yeah. Welcome to Beautiful Noise episode 2.
Yes. Today will be, I think, non-specific. I think we started with Araki. I think we're probably going to end up somewhere. So just like all the other...
End up getting canceled, that's what you're talking about.
Yeah, hopefully not. We talked about this before starting the recording, but we were a little bit, if anything, yeah, both of us were a little bit uncertain about should we make the second episode about someone who I think is rather controversial, right, in photography, especially these days.
Yeah.
Especially in this era.
This climate.
Yeah, this climate. This somewhat PC, you know. I think photography has turned a little bit PC. That's just a opinion. I'm just interjecting that.
No, that's true.
Yeah.
Sure.
And I think he's right. So yeah, we were a little bit uncertain. We're like, you know, we just made episode 1, and that was about the origin and some funny stories, our insights, and I think people seem to they seem to enjoy that. And then second episode, we're like, Araki, misogyny, and you know, chauvinistic character. Like, we're about to lose all of our followers.
Exactly.
We're about to get canceled. But hey, you know, he is someone that I truly admire, and I think his work has inspired me in many different ways. So I think it would be unfair for us to leave him out of any discussions. I think we will talk about him, and that will be the, I guess, the main opening topic of this episode.
Right. Like it or not, he is a giant.
Yeah.
Within the photography world, right?
And I think also, yeah, and like I was saying before we had that introduction, yeah, something awoken. I think I was given this sort of push into photography because I think, you know, you were aware of this before really stepping foot into any of this. I was really just taking the mildest of photos in a way. You know, I wasn't pushing for anything. I knew something was probably missing from my photography, but I had no idea. And then the moment I looked at Araki's work, I realized, okay, here are the things that are missing. But the thing I was saying, how a lot of people seem to they don't want to admit that they like his work because they feel like it's wrong, you know, morally or ethically wrong.
Yeah.
And so that's why they choose I'm just going to back out. But I think for me, I made the decision to step in because I think I just lack moral ethics. I think I just don't have the same moral codes, probably. I think it's fair to say that some photographers may not have those moral or ethics, you know, however you choose to call them.
Yeah. It's more, I think, is, you know, people, I guess they're too focused on like just what it is, you know? Because like if you really just looking at a few pictures from him and you don't really understand like his completely body of work, you're just gonna see it. You're probably just gonna find it grotesque, you know?
Yeah.
Like just fucking titties and
yeah, he's shoving flowers and hoses inside a woman's vagina. Of course, you know. I think describing his work like that is a very, I think that's almost like calling Picasso's work, you know, some blotches of paint in a way, right? It's a very one-sided, one-dimensional way of looking at Araki's work. I think part of the reason, and you know, hearing that story of your mutual friend returning that book, it kind of made me feel like, so how do you, I guess no, it's more of a question for you. How do you, if you know, saw someone and you did see somebody doing that, and let's just say you just want them to, hey, give it another look. Like, I don't know, what would you tell them? Like, you as a photographer and a fan of his work for quite some time now.
I mean, look at, you know, Sentimental Journey, right?
Like, Sentimental Journey, I think I would say the same.
Yeah.
I think that one, Sentimental Journey, has been the one book that I'll admit it, you know, sometimes I look at some of Araki's work and I just feel like, is this crossing the line? Should I like this guy? Should I talk about him religiously like I do? And then I go back to Sentimental Journey and I'm just like, it's like in a way, it's sort of like my you I guess you could call that book, for me, I guess I could call it like my lifesaver in a way, in a way that it's like a floaty. I feel like I'm sinking too deep into his work, and sometimes it could get pretty messed up. I mean, you know about his pictures of, girls who seem somewhat underage,
Yeah.
I think we're all aware of that. I'm not going to talk too much about that because I do not want to get canceled and arrested. But I'll just leave it at that. So he does have, a few pictures, a few series in his, I think, collection that we wouldn't really stand with. So I think Sentimental Journey has been kind of like that float for me to be like, that guy's a good guy.
Yeah, it's kind of like a core of his work, where whether you know him, from his modeling, pictures of models, or his painting over pictures. I mean, any type of his picture, you always come back to Sentimental Journey because it really is an embodiment of like who he is, and when you look through it, you think like there is a good to everybody, and then everything else, it just, you kind of feel like it's just part of his personality. Yeah.
So would you say that, I guess it being the core of his work, and I really do think, to this day, a lot of the stuff that you've seen from Araki does seem to kind of, it has its roots in Sentimental Journey, right? I mean, that book kind of has everything. It has love, it has life, sex, and death. Like, those are like the big themes in Araki's work. So in a way, his pictures of, flowers, and his pictures of food, and his pictures of grotesque, body parts from various models, the bondage stuff, the kinbaku stuff, they all seem to be coming from Sentimental Journey in a way, right? And personally, I do feel like, and this is just to your mutual friend, this is my, I guess, message to them, just take another look at Araki's work. I think there's...
She's a very nice person. I'm sure she is, but maybe Tokyo Lucky Hole wasn't a great introduction.
I think Tokyo Lucky Hole is is another entrance. I think it's another entrance into Araki's verse, the universe of his photography work.
Because I think once you have a sort of understanding, like for me, that was one of the last few books I looked at, but. And that created a different senses for me, my first look at Araki's work was, I can't remember, but what I'm trying to say is that like when after having an experience of looking at his other work and coming back to Tokyo Lucky Hole, is that one is just comedic to me, it's just fun, like it just, this guy, he just goofy, and he I mean obviously like it entails like like porn, sexuality, very sexual content, but it just, he made it almost like funny, and then at the same time you're supposed to feel overwhelmed by this massive environment or world that you and yourself will never dive in because and then here he is showed to you, right? And then I think when I think of Araki and after looking at Tokyo Lucky Hole, what I realize is this guy is truly the embodiment of like Tokyo, right? Right. And if you he photographs in a sense like there's no filter at all, same, playing beautiful noise, but this, if you truly look at his work, he is all everywhere, and I can't think of another person who have, in a sense, document Tokyo the way he does, like in every single aspect of it. He his first book, what is it?
Hatchin.
Hatchin.
Sachin.
with
The
know
little kids.
the kids of at the time of
Yeah.
Tokyo, and then to the train,
Mm-hmm.
and then to businessmen,
Yeah.
to all the way to the like the porn industry.
Yeah.
And he covered it all. And he has such massive. This guy is pumping out
Yeah.
work nonstop, right?
Yeah.
He pumping out
That's
work.
true.
And not only that, he's pumping out work, like personal work, like
Yeah.
that book. What is it called?
The diary one.
Yeah, the diary
the
one.
super big
Yeah,
one.
like 1,000 pages.
Yeah.
Of just like the shit he eats.
yeah. TV screens, what he's looking at. Yeah.
So in that sense, like, Tokyo Lucky Hole wasn't that bad for me because like he provided me into this world, like this non-filter world, this non-agenda focused. No, oh, this is what you should see it at.
Yeah.
It just he made it so that it just so normalized
Yeah.
and just funny in a sense, and I guess. I am a fan.
Yeah.
I am a fan, so
Yeah.
it might be a bias,
Yeah.
but then that's how I feel about Rocky.
Yeah.
I think he is.
You think he would be? You think he'd be down to be a Beautiful Noise member?
If anything, he inspired.
No filters, no agenda. I think that's essentially what we stand for. And I find it, I really do agree. And I was going to add that, I think Araki, and people know about this, people who have researched his work and looked at his work, is that he has this massive love for life,
Yeah.
He's truly, I think he's I also admire him for that as well. We're over here like dreading every day. We're not really looking forward to whatever that's gonna happen. I think that's sort of it's safe to say that's kind of the overall mood of 20-something-year-olds nowadays, right? We're relatively bleak. We're not super excited about life. We're sad. We're depressed. Yet, you have this guy who, he's lost his wife. I mean, his cat. But look at him. He has this he's like a ball of energy.
Right.
He goes around, he takes pictures, and he always has this sort of like, what? I'm glad to be here. I'm still glad to be photographing. I'm glad to be taking pictures. Whatever those pictures may be, I'm just glad to be there. And I love that spirit, I mean, honestly, that's what I'm learning a lot from him, is that I'm learning to appreciate, the things that I come across. I don't take pictures for most of the stuff that he does isn't what I'm like working on, I mean, of course I'm taking pictures of like the personal stuff, but I know for a fact right now I'm not doing like the bondage stuff. I'm not taking pictures of like models, so people sometimes they ask me that, like, what do you see in Araki, like your work doesn't resemble him, and I'm like,
right.
It's not, I'm not trying to imitate his work. I think I'm imitating his love for life and love for photography.
Yeah.
That's what I'm trying to imitate. That's what I'm trying to like learn from him, to appreciate life. And then the other thing is that I wanted to mention is that I think he photographs very honestly, even in the most set up situations. Hey, people who are kinky, people who would be down to do that stuff. So what's wrong about setting that up and taking pictures of that stuff?
Right.
And even Tokyo Lucky Hole, that's photojournalism. That's not
It is
right. Like
photojournalism.
it's a big book of photojournalism. I mean, okay, people, obviously, no offense, but like we look at wars too often.
Yeah.
We look at famines. We look at disasters too often. But what about like sex clubs and strip clubs, right? I mean,
Right.
that's part of those things are part of life.
I mean, it's just as normal as to like
Yeah.
fucking America going to war.
Exactly. Yeah. I think we go to, not we person like us, but I think in general we go to strip clubs as often as we go to wars. So and so far I think he might be one of the very, very few, that that has made a work on that.
Way
kind
to
of
draw
stuff.
the line.
Yeah, right.
To reach those points together. But
Hey, I mean, it's shit, man. I mean, if someone makes a whole book on uncovering like some conflict, you know, the balance of things. You know, when you want to see suffering, you also want to see enjoyment. And what's a better way to enjoy yourself, right?
the war porn. People.
Yeah, and you just, I think porn is kind of, you know, it's a fact of life. I know I'm reaching a little bit too far now, but essentially I do want to wrap around, you know, photography and just being, I think, conscious about what we do. I think Araki is truly someone who one should, if you want to learn photography in the most liberating sense, in the most, you know, unfiltered, unrestricted, you should learn from Araki, right?
Yeah.
That would be what I would tell people personally. But then again, I'm a big fan, and you know.
But not to say like he is completely, you know, devoid of like you know deep thoughts.
Oh no,
of course not,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Like he is the quintessential photographer.
Yeah.
He photographed things, you know, whatever it is, you know. If he you know like what I said, you know, last episode, you know, just to make a photograph and just to capture life, death, you know, sex, and in the end, like you know, like just like from what he got from Sentimental Journey, right?
Yeah.
All that was the whole entire series, which is his, you know, of course his entire honeymoon, and then you know at his his wife's funeral, but at the time he, you know, that of course that picture of her laying in the boat, you know, he explained it later that you know that it's that whole honeymoon was sort of like foreshadowing.
Yeah, it was like a journey into death. Yeah, right.
Like when she was laying on that boat, it was her laying on the river of Styx.
Yeah,
that's how he interprets it. And the picture of his cat at the end, you know, jumping in the snow. That was sort of his take on, you know, her leaving. And you know, I think what his photos are quite profound in the sense that, and I think everybody could take a look at this. You know, whatever is in our archive is, in any moment in our life as well, can be a foreshadowing of something. You know.
Only in hindsight. Though.
In hindsight. But you know, tying back to Araki, you know, like he see these things. You know, he see this moment that gravitates him to take the pictures, and then you know to go back, you know, to reflect on your life experience and to reflect on your photographs as well. I think it's a very good point to of photography. You know, to look back and to find meaning in your photographs. Yeah.
Well, I don't think necessarily meanings, but I think just, you know, I think photographs in a way are like deja vu. You know, they're like moments that you think you've seen already, but not, you know, not really. I think they're, you know, obviously deja vu, they're not real memories, they're fabricated by our own brain. But I think that's actually quite interesting that, you know, in a way, the memories that we capture maybe years apart, but, you know, they still have some sort of, I guess, like meaning that they could still relate to us in the present, wherever we are, you know. And this is, I could also, we could segue into discussing, you know, how we tend to work with photos, or, you know, photos or a series of photos that we've taken like maybe months or years, you know, apart, but then we still put them together in a series. So but I think you and I, you know, we work in this in a style that, you know, we take pictures, but then we look back at the pictures that we've taken, and then we try to connect those pictures with whatever that's going on now, and then we make that into a body of work, right? We don't think, oh yeah, this is gonna be like Araki didn't. He definitely didn't look at his wife on that boat and thinks in like 1972, you know,
Yeah.
while she was still healthy and alive, and you know he couldn't have thought, oh yeah, this is her death.
Right.
No, I mean he just took the pictures probably because he thought it was cool, because that's how we do it too, right? I think the one thing that I'd say connects all the photographers together is that we just think something looks cool. And we have this sort of connection to that moment, and then we take the picture, but we don't know where it's going to end up. So, you know, and then this is something that, well, I think a lot of young people, younger than me, I guess, when they're doing photography, you know, they look at series and they think, oh yeah, you know, I want to come up with something like that, you know. And you and I we were both very critical, or at least I was very critical of the, you know, the whole trend behind, you know, like taking pictures of like, you know, on like color film, posing models in very odd, you know, in a very odd manner, like having them like hold goldfish in their mouth, having them like stack on top of each other. Obviously, you know who you know, it's Ren Hang.
Yeah.
It's people imitating that kind of style.
You mean that Vietnamese photo group?
Yeah. Well, them. I mean, I didn't want to call on anybody specifically, but now that you've done it, okay, yeah. Yes. I think worldwide, but probably Vietnam, and maybe we're just more connected with Vietnam, and that's why we see more coming from that part of the world. But yes, seemingly there was a whole I feel like a whole 2 years of people doing that.
I think. Oh, you know, with that issue alone is...
Yeah. Oh, what do you think on that? Yeah.
Well, imitation is fine, right? And to take Ren Han and immortalize him, that's perfectly fine, right? That's a beautiful thing to do, but like to take it as your own, it's kind of like... that's kind of weird.
And that's something that we don't know if that's... whether or not they're doing that, right? Because we don't know if they're...
But then to just like constantly like regurgitating blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
Just like...
then at one point it becomes like, okay, we know what you're doing. Okay, cool. Like, I think tributes are cool. An homage is cool, right? Like, you know, I've taken... There's a picture of mine, and I think I posted this on Instagram. I think it's still there. But it's, you know, it's a picture... that I made a print, and you were there, you saw the print of the dog, a black dog in some beach in Vietnam. And see, like, that's Kudelka. Like, you look at it and you're like, that's Kudelka, because the dog in my picture is also kind of turning around, looking at the camera. Of course, at the scene, I wasn't thinking of Kudelka. I just saw a black dog, right? But then when you know, obviously I'm speaking for myself, you know, believe it or not, I wasn't thinking of Kudelka. I was just taking pictures of this one dog. And then in the final, in like looking at the negative and then making the print, I'm like, oh, hey, that's Kudelka. So it's something that's like after the fact, right? Yeah. So I guess the point that I'm trying to reach here is that I think people should, this is obviously my opinion, but, you know, don't try to recreate a project or a series that you've seen in the past. Just take pictures and then look back at it. And then you can always come up with any bullshit that you want, honestly, right? Because that's what we do. we basically bullshit our way through our zines and series because we try to relate these photos that occurred like months ago to something that's going on right now. So I guess what does that say about, you know, I think, I guess like our photography collectively is that, well, I mean, this is sort of a discussion thing, but, you know, of course, I don't think pictures should have any sort of weight to you personally in that moment. Give it some time, and it might, you know, I guess if Araki's wife didn't die, if she hadn't died from her disease, that picture of her on the sticks would just be another photo, would just be another picture, right?
Yeah, it would mean something else.
Yeah, it would mean something else, and it would take on a different meaning. It would still be a good picture.
Yeah.
but it'll take on a different meaning.
But I mean, like, just to close out, like, the point about Ren Hang,
Yeah.
and, you know, the trend, who's to say you can't take somebody's style and create your own narrative out of it, or it creates, or like to continue on his work, right?
Yeah.
Like, let's just say, you know, like the stylistic of pointillism, whoever, you know, or like, you know, cubism from Picasso, you know, who's to say you can't do that and you know, take it on onto your own perspective. But it's kind of odd when, you know, you just making the same thing. I mean, just like that band.
Yeah.
And I'm not gonna say the name of it, but it's pretty new band, but they sound just like fucking Led Zeppelin.
Oh.
I mean.
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about.
I mean, I just listened to a Led Zeppelin record. I don't need to listen to this.
That's a good point, because when you have, of course, I get it. You know, Ren Hang is, you know, he passed away, but his work is still around.
Yeah.
So it's like, and you know, and of course, people even go ahead and call me out and call us out on it. You know, because. Of course, you will see some points of imitation in our own work, just because we are so influenced by a lot of people, you know, that we look up to. And so we can't help but sometimes, like, some of those elements will come, you know, they'll come out. They'll come out and they'll appear in the pictures. But I have enough confidence to say that I'm at least telling my own narrative, and that when people look at the work that I'm making, the, you know, zines that I'm making, they're really my own story. Like, they're really personal. Yeah. But if you're looking at the work of, you know, people who were taking pictures like Ren Hang did, you really don't, you know, at least for me, I didn't feel the narrative. I saw objects, you know, being put together, being assembled together. Was the work pretty? I mean, yeah. But then, like, I could just look at Ren Hang. Like, I can just look at his pictures. Yeah. Because I understand I could see his narrative. He put together books. At least he made series and stuff. So you could go through a whole series and see his narrative. But when you look at these fragmented photos that these people would do every now and then, you just feel like, hey, there's not much here, right? Yeah. There's not a whole lot of substance.
Well, it's also. Because it's also through social media that we truly don't know too. Because like, I don't know.
It's like at the end of the day, it's like, just don't post your pictures. just be like Cocan and not post anything.
That's true.
But you know, and I guess now that we're on that, you know, social media, I've you know, we've, if anything, you know, I somewhat stopped. I also kind of stopped posting too. I post like maybe once a month or so, you know, just to keep my page alive. You kind of do the same. We have a lot of stuff going on, you know, in like physicality. You know, we have books and we have series, we have prints, but then we represent it with just like one picture or one post a month. And I think that's, it's kind of funny for me to think about, because I used to post a lot. I used to post like every 2-3 days.
We used to post all the time.
And then we stopped. And I don't know. I mean, is that something that you feel like, well, is it just natural? Does it feel natural to you? This is more of a question that I'm asking you, because we haven't talked about this. And I haven't asked you. I haven't confronted you actually for why you have not been posting, you know.
Well, one, just for, you know, personal reason. Yeah. Like with work and life events. Yeah. That I'm not really too keen. With that being said, I do spend a lot of time on my phone.
Yeah, I know you look at everybody's stories. Man.
Yeah, I do. It's just like posting. Mm-hmm. Not to say like to preface this, Instagram is great. Yeah. I do love Instagram. Mm-hmm. And to get my picture to people that I admire, like, you know, Tang Hai, or Hayo and then like Trong or like Phong.
Yeah.
All those
Shout out
Vietnamese.
to
Shout out
all
to
the người anh em out there.
But to get my picture to them to look at, that's like and to see them, they see like I don't really give a shit if they like it or not, but just to like get my picture then to look at and establish a connection with myself and them. That's in itself is a reward. But then at the same time, I just couldn't keep up with like Instagram. Like I just find it like the whole posting after a while it just kind of like devoid of any meaning. Like I'm like just it's more or less just like posting for what,
just
like,
to fill up.
Yeah, just to like
right?
let people know I'm still here. Well, then it doesn't really matter if I'm there or not. Like I post stories sometimes, so you can message me if you want. And like all the important people, I'm in touch with them. So all that posting stuff, I really don't care.
Yeah.
And as far as my work goes, I don't know. I just find Instagram isn't the best place to show my work. And as in like, come on, you look at photos that like your photos, right?
Yeah.
I know you fucking pound the ground for that shit, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, out there taking picture.
Yeah.
Spending a shit ton of money on film and processing, to the point where we had to do it ourselves.
Yeah.
And then to end on like a 1-inch thumb.
Like
thumbnail, compressed thumbnail,
just to be on someone's screen for about a second, and then on the scroll, and then it disappears.
Yeah, and then what? And then it's such.
But the engagement,
the engagement, the insight,
the analytics,
the graphs.
I need to reach my audience. Yeah, but no, that's some more or less why I thought about the whole posting thing. We've never. I'm not playing the Instagram game.
I did for a little bit.
The algorithm and all that. Follow for follow, that kind of bullshit. I'm not. I used to do that.
I didn't follow people, but then like
I
did try to play to the algorithm.
Yeah, I think I remember like researching the perfect time to post, and then now I just post at like 2 a.m. And then whatever it gets. And I actually quite like the fact that even when we do post, it's kind of like I find it as me. I'm sharing. Usually, like now, I'm posting what I'm working on in a way. I'm posting my thought process. I'm not posting to show off anymore. I'm kind of like I'm working on this sort of thing, and these are the pictures that I'm looking at, but they look kind of complete, and so I'll put them up. I'll put them on Instagram.
Yeah.
Just so that people have a chance to like, see what I'm up to. I archive a whole bunch of posts now. Like it was something where I feel like something has already made it into the series. I take those off.
Yeah.
And then people can, if they want to look at my work, they will find my work elsewhere. Print it or on my website. And Instagram becomes sort of like, well, now I post memes on my story and that kind of stuff. I think that keeps people entertained, and I think that works. And I do believe that to have your work end up on this little thumbnail, and then on someone's screen for not even like a second. Like when you scroll through something, you barely look at stuff, right? Whenever we scroll through Instagram, and I'm sorry to my followers, but like I don't really look that often. Like I don't, unless it's really captivating, right?
Yeah.
Unless it's like, oh, okay,
Yeah, and not only that, Instagram is really. The algorithm is so good that it knows what you want, and then it just those things that
I've seen your feed
that I really want to look at. And have you seen my discovery? Jesus Christ!
I know.
So I mean, That's why I don't like anybody's picture, because I never get to your picture. I just look at the weird shit.
Your feed is just like, oh, it's just like a whole bunch of mukbangs.
Hey man, don't steal my.
Oh, okay. Well, we have like TikTok memes and stuff on there as well.
TikTok.
Yeah. But I think the point of all this is just like encouraging. I guess we would like to encourage people to, Instagram is not the end of it. It's not the end goal. I mean, yes, your pictures can end up on Instagram, and it's a great tool to share. But if you are trying, if that's all you want to do, if you just want to exist for about a second on someone's screen, that's fine, perfect. It's a very convenient way to share. It connects people. For the past few months, I've been connected with like so many.
Yeah, it's a great tool to connect with people.
Talk to people. Actually, like Instagram is a great way to talk. Like DM people. Talk to people that you admire. Ask them about stuff. Ask them about what they're working on. It's a great way to connect. Posting wise, maybe just do it for fun. But if you are serious and you like to be, I guess like you want to make a stronger impression, go, I don't know, make a website, make a zine, share that zine with your friends.
Yeah.
Send it to the people you admire. That's what I've been doing actually. I've been sending, my zines to people that I want them to look at my work. I genuinely want my work to reach them directly.
Right. In a medium that you would feel happy.
Exactly. Yeah.
To present your work, right?
Yeah.
Because come on. It's Instagram. It's just like a little thing.
Mm-hmm. And it's a different experience too. And I like looking at my stuff printed on some whatever. Like I'm flipping through like a little booklet. It feels like it has some weight to it, because obviously it does. It's a tangible object, so it's like, I made this. And then when you give that act of you giving that to someone, it means so much both ways. I think it means a lot to me. I mean, if they don't like it, well, they don't have to tell me. But if they do tell me that they like it, then it means even more to me. That's what I've sort of I've been able to find a lot of joy in photography from doing that alone. Like, of course, taking pictures and like developing and printing and all that stuff is great. But lately I've been like, hey, maybe I shouldn't post and just wait until I have something really great. And I'll make that into something even greater. And then I'll just bring that to somebody and have them look at it. So social media. But then Beautiful Noise Collective is only on social media. I guess
we don't really plan on.
Yeah,
I think that'd be the only.
There was a little bit of a somebody asked a question. I posted a questionnaire on the story, and someone asked if we were working on anything, and I gave them a vague answer as we normally do. But I don't know. You want to get into that now, or you want to talk about that next time, or just what we are thinking about? Like, this is not to reveal what we're working on, but it's more like we have intentions to be, I don't know, or work on something or something. Obviously, now it suggests that we have something, so I think that may be enough.
Like Jung said.
Yeah.
We're cooking something.
Yeah, we're cooking something.
But the pot is a slow boil.
It's a slow cook.
Yeah, it's a slow cook. It's slow.
Yeah.
But then
it's a crock pot.
It's a crock.
Yeah.
But
we're in the
like
kitchen
good.
whipping.
But it's a good. But whatever. When it does come to fruition, I think we would be proud of it.
Yeah. Beautiful Noise Collective. I think Instagram is just a platform for us to hang out, to play.
Yeah,
I think we really do.
Describe it.
We really do exist more, and a lot of people don't. They're just not aware of this. I mean, I keep saying a lot of people are, but of course it's because we don't communicate until now. But we do have a physical platform, and that just means that means that we meet up. Yeah. That means that we have yeah, obviously you and I, we work together a lot, and then whenever I do see Ling or Yung, that's actually when the collective is
Yeah.
existing. So, I guess give it some thoughts. Anybody who is listening, just I think Instagram or social media is like a great tool, but much of life is outside of that.
Yeah.
And mentioning we started this episode by talking about Araki and how he has this great love for life. Just and he's always outside. I think the guy doesn't even have a cell phone. Yeah.
I guess I can tie it back, sort of.
Yeah. Yeah.
Just like how he reached back to his, memories and photographs of his wife.
Yeah.
And define what it is, of what it means to him now. Kind of like how I think we should look at things like Instagram and just not see as like just that's it. It like obviously it's a medium of our generation, but then really do remember the first time you fall in love with photography. And I think this is true for most people too. Is the best photo book is your family album, right?
Yeah.
That's when you first see your family, yourself, and an earlier version of you. And I think everybody should reach back to that point and, why not recreate that? Print those things out for yourself now. And for you and your, I don't know, your offspring, your little demons, whatever you can give birth to later on in life, so they can, so those pictures will take on a meaning for you later in life, and also your your family can have their own sort of like their puzzle of who you were.
Yeah.
And right.
So essentially, you're saying make photo books as if they, I guess, as if they were meant to be family albums. Is kind of what you're saying. Like leave traces of who you are.
Yeah,
for the future generation, right? For whoever that will.
Yeah, just take the fucking picture, make it tangible.
Yeah.
Or make it so that there's something for you to look at. Well, who knows? Maybe we are living in the 21st century. Maybe later on, I got some fucking glasses that I can look at my.
Yeah.
That's how we can view our. That's our the 21st century photo albums.
Yeah.
Do fucking augmented reality.
Yeah.
So, who knows?
It's on. Yeah. It's just Snapchat memories. It's just
just my memories is just me sharing my kids my Instagram archive. It's like
it just be one of those selfies where it's like it's just my nose.
What the fuck, Dad?
So, but living with the times. I think we're not too conservative. I think when it comes to Actually, I think I am. I'm I hold on to things, and I think you can't just live with like Snapchat memories, being something that will get passed down. I think you should make it look nice. You should, and I think photography is the only like proper conscious for like what you're doing. You got a camera and you go out and you photograph your parents, your sisters, your brother, your people in your family. Consciously doing so,
right?
I think like tools like Snapchat and other kind of social media, they're great. They can go along as sort of accompaniment with what you're doing. But then again, I'm conservative, so I don't think Snapchat or Facebook memories or whatever these weird like selfies or whatever could really replace photography. But then again, I am holding on to a lot of things from the past. But that's just me. Speaking of which, since you were the one that mentioned it. Where are your books?
My books?
Yeah, I think people are asking for it, man. They're demanding it.
Look,
once and for all.
Listen here, you little shit.
Please tell the rest. I have your books.
Yeah.
They're mine. I'm not going to give them out to people. But people are asking, I think they want to know. They've seen plenty of mine. In fact, they're complaining I have too many. It's like
they're good stuff.
But
good stuff they needed to be out in the world.
I guess a friend of mine, an acquaintance on Instagram, mentioned that, when I made that announcement that I have like 2 zines on my website, he was like, "Oh man, I'm broke, and you gotta do this right now when I'm not, when I don't have money." I'm like, "I'm sorry, I just gotta do it." But I see that as a friendly complaint. Obviously, appreciate they ended up buying the zine anyway. So thank you for doing that. But yeah, I guess that's just one of the. I'd say this is the last question for this episode. Kind of want to end on this mystery because no one knows what you're doing.
As of right now, I can't decide between. Is it because I'm not too interested? Because I'm kind of focused on real life stuff, and I don't want to get into that shit.
Yeah.
Like photography isn't real life, but I mean just like career wise, I just kind of want to be on that because but and at the same time, yeah. It's been weird as in I'm just not really happy with any sort of whatever medium I've tried so far. Wasn't really too happy how it turned out. Just like I told you, the book I made and you have a copy. Actually, only 4 people.
Yeah.
Yeah. And the reason why is that because obviously you're my friend and you have one.
Yeah.
And those 3 people they have.
Yeah.
But it's just like I'm kind of anal. Like if I'm not happy with it, I'm just not gonna put it out in the world. So that's my answer. And as to when, I don't know. When is my book? I want to get my shit together.
What? So, but of course, you're still preaching. It's still good to do it. Right?
Yeah, I'm saying like it have to be do it. It's I would never have a thought where I'm not gonna print.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna make a book. It's always in my head, but it just more or less certain aspect of life get in the way, and I can't. This is a personal detail about me, but I guess I'll say it anyway. But I'm very single task focused. As in, if I do something like, and that's shit where people say they're multitasking. That's fucking bullshit. I like to do one thing and I like to do one thing only. And when I achieve that one thing, I move on. And right now, is career.
I'm the person with that multitasking bullshit because I'm working on like 6-7 things at a time, but I get what you're saying though because truthfully, am I accomplishing all of those?
You're not multitasking. You're just doing one thing and then you're doing another thing.
Exactly. I move on. I move. I know that's why I mean like I like to think I'm doing that. I want to sound cool, when I say that. Like, I'm working on like 7 projects, bro.
That's what fucking people say in the interview. Like, oh, yes, sir, I'm multitask.
I'm a multitasker. No, you work on one thing at a time. You just can't focus, and so you jump from. And that's me. The reason why I came out with like, actually, how many zines I've made for like the past 6. 6 zines I've made was because I've worked on them. I worked on those 6 kind of at the same time.
Yeah.
I finished one, I finished the other, and then I finished the other 4. And then they all just came out. So that's just my style of doing things. So I guess like disclaimer, that's not my work ethic. It just happened to be, I came to a time where 6 of them were done, and then I just released all of them.
Right.
Well, except for 2. But then if you were to like, now that's your issue. You're working on your career, but like if this sort of question has 2 ways of approaching it, I guess. One is I was gonna ask if you were to give yourself an advice to like, or like a push to start making photographic, materials. What would you say? And then also the other thing is it ever okay to just, hey, it's fine. I'm gonna worry about other things. I'm just, you're thinking about photography, but you're just not making anything. Like, is that okay? Do you think it's ever risky? Like, if you get yourself in that situation and then you never go back to photography and you just end up quitting? Because I know people who have gone through that. They got busy with something and they tell themselves, hey, I'm thinking about it, but I don't have the time. And then suddenly they stop thinking about it and then it's gone completely.
You know what my advice is? Probably the worst one. Is that you're gonna feel like shit later. I guarantee it. The months where I guess I like, even if I'm not putting together something, I'm always taking pictures.
Yeah.
Like, I can't. There's not a day where I don't take a picture of something.
Yeah.
Because those days where I don't have and we don't have good recollection of our days either. Most of our days, and I guess I read somewhere, I don't know, but it was basically, let me just reframe the question, but could you describe to me your 20, like when you were 20?
When I was 20?
Yeah.
Like, in what sense? Like, my feelings,
your just memories.
Memories.
It's hard, right?
Yeah.
I mean, I'm just gonna answer.
Yeah. Okay.
Like,
I was actually gonna do it, but that's fine. I went through a breakup, but okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You only can remember like the big details.
Yeah, the highlights. Yeah.
A birthday, but then is that it? Like, and that's what I found out. Like, a lot of my early days where I didn't take picture of. I don't really have a picture of who I was. I know, like, I was obviously a lot more immature and the basic fact of life, but then at the same time, if we don't remember who we were, so if just take pictures or you're gonna forget who you were. And you find things, you will find meaning later, things you will embrace later in life. So just keep on, just keep taking pictures. They're meaningful to you. And I don't know, and I guess this worked the other way too. And if you want to forget shit, just don't take pictures. But I guess that's my encouragement. It's worth it. It's worth to just take pictures all the time, just to remember yourself, to remember who you once were, and because if time is always changing, and you don't really know what you're taking for granted. At the current time, it's not going to be the same. It's not going to be the same. Whatever you're enjoying right now is going to be the thing of the past, and I don't know. I'm a human being. I relish on nostalgia.
Yeah.
So it's good to keep that.
So essentially, just no matter what you're doing, or like what you're going through, if you're working on your career, you're working on school or work, just if photography is your interest, obviously, you want to keep that alive somehow. I guess your advice would just be, well, don't think of what you're gonna be making with the stuff, but thinking simply that you're just documenting the days that are going by. Yeah.
Whatever you're gonna plan to do with it, you'll find time to do it. Because life is long. People say life is getting shorter. I don't think that's true. Life is long. We have Well, hopefully I live another 50, like a 50 years.
With your lifestyle,
With
man, with what I saw, what I saw you eating the other day, probably
Garbage.
But no. I think it's life is long. We got time. Don't stress. I stress. I actually I take it I think oppositely. When it comes, I'm obviously right now, fair to say that I have not as much going on as I did before.
Mm-hmm.
I'm relatively free. Got things to work on, but they're relatively just in the background. They're passive.
Yeah.
And so I can afford to take more time to do photography, going out, taking pictures, and then, wandering around. And then I have time at home to work on the pictures that I've accumulated, right? But that's just simply because I have time to do it, and I think if I didn't have this kind of time, I would still be, I think, doing those things. Yeah. Actually, like nothing would change, right? Yeah.
It would just creep up in a different way.
Yeah. And I find it very relatable, that I don't think of, lately I haven't thought of photography as a way to make something, worthwhile. It's just, I guess it's memento mori, it's just taking pictures of these things that may or may not be here. They may or may not be people and things that may disappear at one point, but at least now you've got something. Right? Yeah. I don't remember my younger self before I started taking pictures. I don't remember what I thought about, the kind of, attitude that I would have towards certain things. I don't remember. But now at least I can trace back. I can look at something I made in 2017, and think, oh yeah, this was me, and I can be critical, or I can be nostalgic, or I can, learn appreciative of that experience.
And things, and especially memories, it takes shapes, even after the photos. It take a completely different shapes. Mm-hmm. And to say, of course we can reflect and remember who we were, but at the same time, things, our memories fade and it becomes fragmented, and then it condenses back together. And I say this, and that's just how memories work. And then at the end of it, when you look at it, there is something. It could be profound. It could reveal something to you, but it would be something completely new to reveal to you. And what's better than deciphering your own life, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, you mentioned work and career, and it's 1 a.m, and I think you have work tomorrow.
Yeah.
So I think that was a great, ending thought. A whole lot of rambling from both of us, but I think that's a nice way to end this episode. It's a little bit longer. But I think I would say this is sort of the average. I would want this to be the average length, but we'll see how people feel about this. But just keep on photographing, keep on making noise, because one day you might forget everything. At least you still got pictures to look at, I guess. Right? Any last thoughts? Messages? Propaganda? Things that you want people to look at for?
Go look at Antran's website. There's good stuff on there.
Yeah. It's link in the bio.
Link in the bio.
Link in the bio. I also have merch.